What's up, Joe? It's been too long, man.
Hey, Drew, and everybody else.
Dude, I'm so glad that they're not going to be hearing this audio quality, because already hearing your voice through the Skype call, I'm like, whew, that's some rough stuff. Well, we're going to sound pristine.
Oh, heck yes. Welcome to another bonus episode of the Godzilla podcast. We still have yet to do the Mothra movies. They're on my shelf. I'm dreading it. And we've got to do a practice
Those
run.
are the commentaries. This is
I know.
Bonus.
And we owe last time's giveaway as well, so we got to anyway, we got to figure all that stuff out.
We're sorting it out. Joe's in LA. I'm back in Utah.
And I had a rough patch, so I was just you know.
Send your positive vibes out to Joe, or whatever you believe in. Send them out to Joe.
Yes, thank you. You believe in vibes?
I hate when I see, my fiance made fun of me. We walked by some store and they were selling shirts that said good vibes. And I'm like, yeah, hipster people would be wearing that and be real proud. And she's like, what's wrong with that shirt? And I was like, yeah, no comment.
I don't believe in vibes. I believe in science.
No, just believe in nothing, man. Just like this movie that we're about to discuss. Total nihilism.
Ooh, okay, yeah. So today is our first impressions watch of Godzilla
Planet Eater.
The Planet Eater, which is a pretty sweet title. I'll give it that.
Yeah, way better than City on the Edge of Battle. Way better than that.
Yes, it is. And yeah, it's the third movie in the Godzilla anime trilogy. A Toho Animation Studios movie, distributed here by Netflix. And it is available if you have a Netflix subscription.
It was available starting on the 9th, I think, because Joe messaged me one morning, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that movie's coming out. So I check out when it's coming out. It was that morning, and I happened to have the day off. So woke up bright and early, watched this movie. It's a real interesting start to the day.
Okay.
I had a lot to think about. A lot.
I guess we could just kind of go over the movie in a roundabout sort of way, like an overview. So it starts off where the last one ended, and they're kind of
pretty much
mourning the losses, with the Mechagodzilla City bullshit. I mean, I can't swear on the show, I forgot. And just kind of in the aftermath of that, there's
discussed on this episode, so might not be explicit, but we cannot beat around the bush on this one. But anyway, go on.
There's some politics dealing with the alien species that thought that everybody should meld into one mind in order to defeat Godzilla, and if they had just gone through with it, it would have worked. And then some people are saying that it's Haruo's fault, that everything went down terribly. So Haru is convinced by Mephisto.
It's Meftes,
name,
I think. I don't know what the other guy's name. There's humans. There's the Billasudo, who we suddenly realized were aliens in the last movie. And this one has the third alien race, the third and final alien race that survived along with the humans. And as far as I can tell, Joe, there's only two of them. One of them, well, they're both crazy, but yeah, go on.
So he convinces Haru to go into hiding, which really means just hanging out at his fairy girlfriend's place.
Dude, I had forgotten about that. You're right. I was like, why is he not doing much for this movie? Because I had forgotten that, Meftes said, dude, this is the strategy. And he's reluctantly goes along with it because, man, he's been action man in the last movie where everyone else is like, I don't know, should we do this? Maybe we should. And he just barges past him, pilots a mech.
Which is his whole role, according to the third alien species. And so he's in hiding, and Mephisto, that's what I'm going to call him. I know it's something else, like Mephites or whatever. He... Say that again.
Meph, like MEPH, Mephes. I don't know, I think that's actually a pretty cool name. Pretty cool. Sci-fi alien name.
So Meftis...
That's the character's name, not the species of alien. Go on.
And his species are all trying to summon what they believe will kill Godzilla, which is their god. And
the golden god.
They're kind of convincing Haruo psychically, I guess, to become the hero sacrifice that'll finally bring Ghidorah into this dimension. So they go, everybody has been starting to join their weird culty religion thing, and then they actually do whatever, with that crystal thing, they actually try to summon Ghidorah, and then Godzilla wakes up, and Ghidorah comes from space, and then in the shape
another dimension,
in the form of 3 random heads coming out of the sky. It begins to engulf Godzilla and cools him down or something like that, and then the hero Haruo has a choice to make whether or not to allow Ghidorah to come into the world, or if he is just gonna not do that. And then the little fairy girls are going around. They get Mothra somehow, I don't know, it's a Mothra in his mind to help him make the right decision, I guess.
Mothra on the mental plane, on a metaphysical plane, because it's in an egg in the movie, but it comes to save him, but it isn't hatched. He sees a silhouette of it. Yeah. And then the hero decides not to become the sacrifice for Ghidorah. And then Ghidorah disappears, and Mothra people just I guess, and then people kind of give up on their fight towards Godzilla, and Haruo, I guess, is still angry at Godzilla, and then decides to take the body of his girlfriend from the last movie and kill himself. And his anger towards Godzilla.
Yeah, and just throw himself at Godzilla with all he has. Because
everybody else has pretty symbolic way. In the last movie, he was piloting these front part of the Mechagodzilla city angel mech suits, and so he rises up in what is very angelic. I was like, okay, this is and yeah, you're right. Kills himself and lets Godzilla destroy him.
Yep, and I guess I don't know. That's the movie. There's a flower at the end.
When Haruo is hanging out, and you reminded me, thank you, I've only seen this film once, and I think I'm good with that. I watched this. Joe, do you want to just give opinion before we sort of talk specifics, or you want to leave that to the end? It's up to you, man.
Well, I think I know where you stand, but you can go ahead. You can go ahead, man. This is first impressions discussion.
You know where I stand? How do you know where I stand? I haven't said much. Dude,
your attitude is very odd. So I get this. Go ahead.
Oh, man. There is some real, I hesitate to use the word, but actually problematic stuff in this movie where I'm like, oh, man. Man. In movie 2, the Shobijin, which are the Mothra fairies, in this anime Godzilla universe are human sized, and I'm like, okay, interesting decision. And there's a race of them, which still is kind of up in the air for me whether they're all female or not. I don't know. Many of them are shown to be female, but I've seen 1 or 2 males of this species that. Honestly, guys, if you have not seen the first 2 films, you gotta watch those in order to watch this, right, Joe? This movie just doesn't make sense without the other 2. Right?
I mean, I don't know if it makes sense anyway, but go ahead.
It ties up loose ends of, not loose ends, but it kind of is the bow on top of the package of the first 2, where the first one, Joe and I's opinion, at least quickly summarized, was, oh man, there's a lot they're trying to set up in this movie, and there's not much character. Second movie, it's an attempt at depth, and this movie has a lot of depth, I think. But man, the thing that pulls it down. Okay, second movie. The Mothra people are human-sized. Why are they human-sized? Who knows? They just are. This movie, I realize why they're human-sized, Joe. Because one of the writers on this film apparently was like...
So you can bang them.
So that the survivor... Yeah, so you can bang them. Yep. When Haruo is in hiding and is, in a real, like, intimate setting with one of these fairies, they're separated, actually, which is strange. I was just thinking, Joe, the second, like, the scene was shown, and I'm like, whew, there's going to be some fan fiction of this for sure. And moments later, she takes her top off, and I was just, like, floored that this was actually happening. I was like, wait a second, there's, like, this is actually the film, it won't just be fan fiction? Two things that sent chills down my hairs on my arms stood on end was that they actually did that, which is just mind-blowing that, yeah, our hero has sex with one of the Mothra twins. Just, all right, I guess. And the other one was when Godzilla's... Sorry, real quick. When Godzilla's fighting Ghidorah and shoots his beam and it ricochets off of him, I was like, dude, like, that was really cool. But
yeah. So those are your two favorite scenes? Is that what you just told me?
Definitely not favorite, but those were the ones that, like, made me just go, am I watching what I'm watching? Like, the power of Ghidorah in that scene and the audacity of the filmmakers to go, yeah, we're going to put this in the movie. Like, I cannot... Dude, if that was not in here, if the main character built up in these last two films didn't, go sleep with one of the Mothra twins, I would recommend this movie to, like, non-fans of Godzilla film. I mean, they kind of have to still be fans of anime and be fans of just sci-fi in general. But I think this is the most palatable of the three. That being said, you got to watch the first two, because otherwise there's just so much in this movie that's been set up by the other two films.
Drew, I have to say, I do think it's the best one of the three. I agree with you.
Yeah. It's the best. And that's
I actually
not saying
thought...
a lot, but it's the best.
I was kind of like, what the fuck at the end? But I thought...
G-rated podcast, no longer.
I thought... sorry. Oh, geez, sorry. I thought it was decent, though.
Joe, I thought the same thing, what you just said. I was... this weird movie. It's weird. It goes deep.
Because, like, I don't like the first one. I have mixed feelings about the second one. I know you're in opposite camp for those two. And for this one, I was like, okay, it's weird. But I thought I was interested in what was happening. And maybe all the other two needed was a sex scene. Maybe that's all it needed. I don't know.
But man,
like a really non-sexy sex scene.
They set it up perfectly to be okay, as in he says no to her when she first offers himself to her, she offers himself to Haruo, and he's like, no.
To Haruo.
And then, moments later, okay, this is fine. And I'm like, okay. He's a good guy because he rejected her for a moment. And then
one of the funny moments was like, which one are you?
Well, exactly.
Which are the twins?
Terrible is that too? Just the fact that, dude, she is 20,000 years older than him. She is like, this is all sorts of just like wrong.
We're going to let a number come between us, Drew.
What?
We're going to let a number come between us, Drew.
Joe, they may be advanced in terms of like they basically have telepathy and are, I don't know, learning to live without technology and live like a more life and peace with the earth, blah, blah, blah. But as far as like, I don't know, just, I don't want to say book smarts, but like intellectually, they are more primitive than, Haruo and the people that have come. And so it's like if you take this is truly how I feel. If in anthropology today, you took a group of civilized, modern civilization people and went to a to an indigenous tribe that wasn't touched by humans, and, just, it was okay because one of them wanted to sleep with you and you reject them. But then it's okay for the audience to feel okay that Haruo is sleeping with her because he said no at first. And, dude, the only reason that is in the movie
I think they're all adults and they can do what they want.
What? Sorry?
Just go ahead. I think they're all adults and they can do what they want.
They can, but it's strange. It's strange, and the fact that
weird.
It's only in the movie, Joe, because at the end of the film, the crew that survive, have posterity with this indigenous tribe. And it's like, it's okay and it's not weird because Haruo did it once. So,
yeah, I think that maybe that, so the telepathy thing is interesting. It's also interesting that everybody gave up fighting against Godzilla, and they're now procreating with the primitive tribe. I believe that was kind of they're now intermixing. And was that tribe's goal the whole time?
I don't know that it was their goal, but at least prior to these people coming back to Earth 20,000 years later, the people, we find out about in the first film, and it's all set up, the Mothra people can live alongside Godzilla, who has overtaken the planet with like his cells and everything's, part of Godzilla, or at least in his image, kind of. They learn to live alongside him. So that's how the survivors of, we failed to mention the other insanity in this movie. Ghidorah kills the like spaceship that's been floating in orbit. And I was like, wow, this movie goes far. Like the balls of this movie, I respect. And I actually enjoyed that they, totally wiped out everyone else in orbit that had been trying to help the ground team in this movie, but really were unsuccessful. Just like everything's going to crap in this movie, and you don't think there could be a happy ending. Somehow they still pulled it off. Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, they're just going to cower away from Godzilla with these other people for the rest of existence, right?
Cower, but like, I actually really liked G-Man's, he screen capped a few just random thoughts he had of the film, and he likened it to how the Mothra people have essentially lived alongside Godzilla as if he's just like a natural disaster, like he's tornadoes or lightning to them. And,
and she has a speech in the movie about that too.
Yeah.
Like, she's scared of this, but she's also scared of other things that are nature things, So that must be the theme of the movie. That must be it.
Man, depending on your religious background, what you believe, like, in higher powers and just what your belief in the afterlife is, I think your reading of the film will be very varied because, man, well, not varied, but like how... I don't know, man. I just thought that Mefties was a religious nut, which even if you are religious, you're going to think he's a religious nut, but you're going to be like, not my religion, though. But to me, I'm like one of those, all religion, blah, blah, blah. Wish I wasn't, but I am at this point in my life. And Mefties is a cultist, and a crazy one at that.
Yeah. The interesting thing, so he was talking about, like, the hero creates the god. They need a hero, or something like that. And he
don't get songs stuck
Haru.
In my head. I need a hero.
He needs Haru as a
Haru
to make
a hero.
Himself a sacrifice in order for the god to exist, because God doesn't exist without a hero. I thought that was some interesting stuff.
Yeah. The whole thing, how Mefties reached the end of, his civilization reached the end of knowledge and basically realized we're nothing. So that's the meaning of everything. It's nothing. You're like, wow, that's true nihilism.
So let's look at the trilogy as one piece. The first movie, it just shows that they're kind of powerless against Godzilla. Even if they destroy the smaller Godzilla, there's another thing that they can't even touch. The second movie, I guess if humanity like melded into one mind, then they could stand a chance against this threat. But they don't.
Like become a monster to destroy a monster. Yeah. Like you're becoming a worse monster than the monster you destroyed.
And then in this one, humanity has a chance if they were to follow with other stuff, with the Ghidorah, that they would be able to rule once again, but
well, not even rule. It's like sacrifice everything to become nothing.
Gets in the way, and all he wants to do is survive. He wants humanity to survive in and of itself, and then he makes the decision not to be the sacrifice, not to have everybody come together again.
Yeah.
So this trilogy, I guess, has the theme of human pettiness, human meaninglessness. I don't know.
What is?
I thought what he did at the. I thought what he did at. I guess I thought what he did at the end of the second one was the right decision. I didn't think it was the wrong decision.
Well, I thought it was the right decision too. Just like I thought the right decision was what he did at the end of this, which is like I guess the Mothra people don't have a word for hate or hatred in their vocabulary, and so oh man, plot hole. He killed himself and the girl that I'm still not clear as to whether that's a sibling of his or a love interest. Pretty sure was a love interest. He killed them, thereby wiping out any chance of that hate coming back. But Joe, I just thought, like, wait a second though. Does that mean that all the other survivors, none of them hated Godzilla? Like, I guess they were turned in this film towards the religion for a minute. Hearts. So they were cleansed.
Yeah, kind of. Those people were cleansed, and then he, throughout this whole trilogy, was the one who just had like an undying hatred for Godzilla.
He's got one shade, one-dimensional Haruo.
Yeah.
This movie, I thought, showed a lot of dimensions of him, but it was just kind of him getting slapped in the face. This is the most I've seen of him, but it's still him just going, I need to take down Godzilla. But everyone's like, nope, can't do that. And he's like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, like over and over. He gets his confidence built up and tries to do something and then gets smacked down and like eventually comes back stronger. Yeah. That's how I think
as a trilogy, his character is not a bad character. It's the first one just drove me nuts.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely done better since the first one.
And about half this movie, by the way, like takes place like cutting back and forth in between like what's going on in his mind, and then we're seeing what Godzilla and Ghidorah, just kind of like Godzilla struggling against Ghidorah. Drew, I kind of liked it.
No, I really liked it. It's just I wish I could recommend it to people because I really don't feel comfortable with the thing that happens in the middle between Haruo and the Mothra fairy. It's not okay. I thought
it was funny. I was like, ha!
Again, if you look at it through the lens of what you're saying, two consenting adults, good. But I'm just like, dude, she doesn't know what she's doing, and he's like, well, I'm going to die, so...
I think you're way underestimating her. I think they've got their like telepathy thing. It made it sound like there's one scene between one of the twins and one of the was it Mephistes or whatever?
That was okay. We haven't even talked about that, but go on. That's a cool part.
They talk telepathically to each other, and she apparently just recently found out that he was basically hearing what they were saying. So I think that tells us as the audience that those fairy people have their own secret agenda, their own secret plans.
I think but everything points to all the stuff, their actions, their speech, they're innocent. They don't want to subject their will upon anything. They just, they're extremely passive and they're kind of like,
their will is to make humans that way as well.
So you're saying they're the real bad
guys. I'm not saying they're the bad guys. I'm just saying they're the ones who won in their own way.
They totally won. Yep. because humanity is now the Mothra people.
And that was by design, and I don't think they're innocent, Drew. I really don't. I disagree with you on that. And another thing that made it interesting is, did the bad guy, not the bad guy, Mephistes,
oh no, he's the bad guy, dude. In that exact scene where you were talking about how they had the telepathy battle or the telepathy off, prior to that scene, I was like, he might have good intentions. Like, he might just be, he's not using the religion veil to just control everybody. And then he totally reveals to her that he actually is, because he's been listening to every human's thoughts the whole time and just, pushes them in the direction he wants them to go. But
my question is, and I thought maybe the movie said this and I didn't care enough to rewind it. Did they say that they could just basically read humans' minds?
Yeah, and same with, are you talking about Mephistes?
Just let them talk, both of them. Both of those.
No, they both can, but the not implication, the direct statement in the film is that the Mothra people, they listen, they can read minds, but they're not using that to their advantage. They just use it to help people, really. And yes, they might actually be the bad guys, but none of that is actually shown in the film. But Mephistes and the other guy, who have never revealed that they've been able to read everyone's mind around them, totally have manipulated things behind the scenes to get it to the point where Ghidorah is going to come and eat everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes me think that when he goes off and he grabs the girl, the half metal girl now, to go kill himself, that the fairy twin girl, she knew what was going to happen because she could read his mind. That's how I read that scene.
Well, and I'm 95% sure that he's had posterity with her, which I thought there's something
based on one of those stills that they were playing when I thought the movie was ended.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, so Haruo killed himself, and he also killed his sibling / love interest. It could be one or the other. I can't tell. But if Haruo had a child, I know there's not a word for hatred in the Mothra's, vernacular. They don't understand the concept of hatred. But his kid has his genes. It's going to be the same passion as Haruo had. I mean, watered down because it's also part Mothra fairy thing. But I totally expected the end credits scene to be a Haruo's son or daughter just, being slightly rebellious and, wanting to carry on the legacy of the father, and it be more tragic than it was, because did you see the end scene that's a minute long? It's in the credits.
Oh no, I didn't not see
so
it.
they're worshiping on the altar of Mothra that was shown more in the second film. There's a big a big outline of Mothra on the wall that they have fires in front of, and they send offerings to. In front of that, they had made of twigs, basically the angel mech suit that Haruo flew off in. So they're sending all the children of the survivors, and I actually think it's the grandchildren of the survivors, mixed breeding with the Mothra people, are giving their offerings to this, I don't know, symbol of what Haruo represented. And
so I was
this is going to be a kind of dark ending. But actually, they're giving up the things that make them angry or scared as their offerings. And I was like, maybe things actually do end up okay in this universe. It seems fine. Nothing was an ominous ending. So, yeah, storytelling wise, it's a little bland that it actually did end on a actual good note. But, I'm okay with it. I just totally figured that Haruo's posterity would end up like him, and in spite of him killing himself, it was I will avenge my father. That's what I was looking for.
So this trilogy as a whole, and especially this movie, kind of deal with a lot of really interesting subjects. It might actually be one of those. It might actually be one of those movies that or trilogies that someone's going to have to break down and explain away everything. And but as it stands now, I don't think that's unless someone's watched it like 60 times in the last couple of days. I don't think it's quite to that point. But it's definitely, especially this movie and the last movie, actually, it made me think. And luckily we got a physical manifestation, sort of one of the classic monsters. Besides Godzilla himself. And so in that way, it'll be a little bit more satisfying for the lay person or lay Godzilla fan than Mechagodzilla City as Mechagodzilla. In my estimation, it would be like that. Some other like good things about this movie: the soundtrack is really good, just like it was in the last one. There's a lot of, especially in this one, there's a lot of really cool, crazy images. It's beautiful to look at. A lot of it.
A lot of it, definitely.
And then it explores some interesting stuff. And I think in the middle of the last two movies, there was always a point where I was like, kind of like a little bored.
I didn't feel that in this movie.
No, I didn't feel that way in this movie at all. Whoever wrote this thing, they're not a traditional storyteller. They're certainly they like to meander and do just kind of interesting mood piece moments interspersed with like a couple action sequences in each movie. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It's interesting to see as a trilogy. It's interesting to see like the Godzilla movies go in an experimental direction. And I certainly appreciate this third one now that I've seen this and was disappointed in the second one's manifestation of, because we thought we were going to get like an actual Mechagodzilla in the last movie.
And you know what? They didn't even reveal at all that Mothra, air quotes, like Mothra's in this film, and not kind of, it's a silhouette, but they chose to not, tell people that, which probably because of the backlash of the second film, they got wise and are like, let's not say that there's a monster in the film that we don't actually have in the film.
Yeah. So anyway, as a trilogy, it's interesting. Maybe watching them back to back would be like the best. And now that we know about the Mechagodzilla thing, it wouldn't be as much of a disappointment. I'm wondering if as a trilogy, it would be better movies.
I definitely should watch the second film without the hatred. Like, I'll always hate it, but going into it, there's no Mechagodzilla in this. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
make it more.
It's interesting, and that's where I'm at. And I thought
that's exactly what I was going to say. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
I think the movie's real pretty. People kind of complain about the animation throughout all the three of these films. I think this one has the best animation of all of them.
That's some really cool great, lighting effects and stuff.
I think the design of this Ghidorah is really cool. It's super out there. It's unfortunate there isn't a lot of monster fighting, but we've had plenty of monster fighting in these films, so I'm okay giving up the monster fighting for something different. It's too bad it didn't it reached for the stars. Like, you're supposed to shoot for the stars and hit the moon, right? Because maybe this shot for the stars and didn't quite even eject out of the atmosphere and crash into the ocean. But it really tried. Like, this trilogy went for something. It's too bad it didn't succeed, but it's all interesting. I totally agree. It's very interesting, if somewhat of a failure.
The philosophical stuff in the second and third one, I think, are where the strength of the three movies lie.
Yeah.
Not too many of the action scenes have been that spectacular to me. But it doesn't even dwell on it. Besides the first one, it doesn't really dwell on action. So
yeah, these movies were not made for action, which is crazy because it's animation. You can do anything with animation, so they really could have went.
Also crazy because it's Godzilla, and they're not doing that.
No, chose not to. Weird.
But hey, they experimented, and I can tell why they did this in anime form now. I think before I was like, why are they making an anime one? That's dumb. It's like, well, they're going to try a new approach to the Godzilla movies. really new approach, really radical, on a safer format to do that in.
And man, I really hope that in 10 or 15 years or less, like, this does not, in spite of this missing the mark overall, like, it's fairly solid, all of it, all three of the movies, like, taken as a whole. I hope that we get more anime Godzilla in less than 15 years. I hope that they revisit this and just try again, because Godzilla can totally succeed as an anime, which has been proven by this whole endeavor. It's all fine. Like, it's fine as both as a fan of Godzilla. Trilogy's great. Like, it's okay. It's not the best, but it's also not terrible. As a non-Godzilla fan, which I can't really speak for, but I'm guessing, it seems like it would all be okay. It might be a little tedious if you're not a fan of sci-fi. But I think for sci-fi fans who, weirdly enough, don't like Godzilla stuff or maybe haven't watched a lot of it, I think they could find this cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see, like, someone who's really into sci-fi kind of tear it apart.
Oh, yeah.
But
I stick with what I said about the second one, that it's not the deepest where it tries to be deep, but I think this was like a really nice bow for all the just philosophical, I think you said meanderings. I think it goes more places in this film because, is a vast majority of this film just, what's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of existence? What's the meaning of...
What is a hero? What is a god? What is love? That's
Baby,
really
don't hurt me.
Except in making love.
Haruo. Not the girls. Which one am I doing?
Yeah, which one are you?
I don't know. No more.
Oh, boy. Anyway, it was good talking to you, Drew.
Yeah, it was good talking to you, too. We made this a solid half hour, which I think most of these have been, and I expected to talk a little bit more about the trilogy. But I would have to revisit them all.
On them. We will revisit them. We'll do a commentary on them here. This will probably be our last commentary we do.
Dude, at the pace we're going, we're going to have a lot more films to do commentaries over.
At the very slow pace we're going right at this moment, yes. We were back in our heyday of 1.5 a month. Yeah.
Heyday. Dude, we had a heyday. I mean, guys, that's the end of our review, so Joe and I are going to meander for a moment here. Apologies, but you can say bye. Sorry, a light went off on my switchboard. I'm like making sure it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe, we had a point where we were ahead. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. It's too bad. It's fine though. It's a good excuse to watch a new movie every once in a while. Except for I don't want to watch Mothra. That's really why. I just don't. I've seen it. I've seen that first one, and I've heard they just get worse. Like they get crazier.
What's the level of the first one? Give it a grade, just to prep my mind for watching Rebirth of Mothra.
Sure, it's a D.
A D? Oh, yeah. Give it the Joe D. Oh no, the Mothra twins giving the Joe D.
Just like Haru gave a D to the old Mothra twins in this movie. I give the D to the Mothra movie. Rebirth of Mothra.
One of the weird, I mean, we're done, but just to talk about the movie for a moment more, they pulled punches, as in I really thought that Meftis killed the other Mothra twin, and then she's just like tied up and unconscious later, and I was like, wait a second, they didn't eat her? Like I thought she was in that soup.
No. All right. Okay, man.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about this movie.
I don't either. We're going to get to Rebirth of Mothra and our giveaways and reading iTunes reviews and all that stuff. We're going to...
Is this a good time for you?
On the bandwagon.
Get back on the horse. Is this a good time for you?
I specifically cleared out this room, which has been just in shambles, our old recording place, which is where I'm at. And unlike before, I'd be looking at Joe across the table, gazing those beautiful eyes of yours. I'm looking down at my phone. Yeah, you forced me to clean this room up. I've been doing a lot of building of shelves and moving stuff around, and it was like this room was totally an explosion of stuff. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Good. My recording space really blows. I might have to like take our closet in our room and like soundproof it and just like sit in there once a week. UFF, it doesn't matter. I feel like Godzilla quality is just like, it's usually a lot better. But yeah.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
No, I mean like UFF, we do audio? It. Audio quality for Godzilla has there's been like one or two like buzzy episodes, but they've never been bad. UFF has just been like it's the experimentation ground since it's been weekly for 4.5 years.
Yeah, man. You
well, we'll have another one next week.
The best quality.
It's a little different. So here's my proposal. Every time I have Sunday off of work, we should strive to do the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, how early do you know ahead of time that you have Sundays off?
2 to 3 weeks. Depends on, like, there's a certain day when the...
Well, that's certainly more than enough time, yeah.
Yeah. So our next one will be Rebirth of Mothra 1, 2, and 3. Not the next one, the next 3. And then we'll do a...
Joe and I are going to marathon those. You're going to have a 5-hour podcast.
No. Heck no. I think we'd run out of things to talk about, too. I think that's what that would be a problem.
Especially not being in the same room with each other, which really added to the mix. I mean, we're talking via Skype, just a discussion now. Man, these commentaries are going to be strange.
It's going to be so weird. But, you know, we've done commentaries over Skype with other people before, so I don't think it's that different.
True.
But it is. It's a little different. We'll have to do a couple of them
across the country from each other. When's the next time you're coming up?
No plan right now. I don't have any money. Okay. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. I'm looking for like a different full-time job right now so that I can make a couple hundred more a month. Make it
we teased it before, but you should go the Maynard James Keenan route and find yourself a pet store and set up their displays.
Yeah, because I love pets so much. I should be that person. Yes, they're gonna see like I'm gonna lie my way through an interview at PetSmart. Like, I'm just really passionate about animals, and then. Then I feel like
stupid little dogs. I mean, lovable little scamps.
I don't think I'm going to make it through that interview because they're just going to see right through my lies. Just be like,
Joe, if you want the money bad enough, you can lie and make them believe.
Hey, that's a really good note to leave out on, right?
Don't quote me there.
GodzillaPodcast.com. You can tweet me at Joseph DeGollier.
You can tweet me at Drew Daybell.
And guys, we're here. We exist. We're working on it.
We still exist.
Hell yeah, we do.
Thanks for sticking around, some of you Patreon people.
Yes, thank you. Have a good day, people.
Have a good evening. Not life, because you'll see us soon, but sure, have a good life.
I enjoyed the Godzilla anime trilogy.
More than us, hopefully.
Hopefully. So
keep it G.